Mandalorian. The Mandalorian Season 3. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a preview of what this is about. So The Mandalorian, if you know, is set after the first original trilogy of Star Wars movies. So the Empire has crumbled, Darth Vader's been killed, the Death Star's blown up, all that sort of stuff, and then you have this guy he's part of he's from a planet called Mandalore, and there's a bunch of these people. He's part of a sect of these people, and they're known for their battle armor. They're known for being warriors, and they're known for their battle armor. But his sect of this battle armor, they believe that once you put the armor on, you never take it off. You never show anybody your face. You never show anybody your helmet. And this is played by Pedro Pascal, which is weird because it's played by Pedro Pascal, but you never see his face. So you never see his face. And the show is famous for Baby Yoda because the first two seasons were largely about Baby Yoda, Kemi, Baby Yoda. So the first two seasons were largely about this the relationship between him and this small Yoda baby creature and how they were coming together, and it was like they had this sort of almost sort of mission of the week structure where they were to do different things, and but underlying you had this whole thing where they were coming closer and closer together, almost like a family, and and the way and I complained because I saw the first two episodes a couple of weeks back with Sean, and I asked Sean, does it get any better? Because the first two episodes of this season, I still maintain, are not a good watch. Because what happened is, I think at the end of season 2, they had brought the story to a place where the original driving force of the whole story, which was the Mandalorian and, well, to give him his given name, Grogu, Baby Yoda, that story had come to a natural place to stop. And then the beginning of the season, it's like them scrabbling around for, oh my God, what do we do now? Okay, now we've got to restart the story and we've got to do this, but it can't be the story we told before. So there's all this exposition at the beginning to try and set up a new thing to make it seem as important as the old thing. And I will tend to somebody who's yelling at me right now and let Sean talk. Sean, what did you think?
Okay, well, yeah, here we go. I agree with what you say. It was a little bit of a slow burn, and I totally agree with you the first two episodes, and I can see where you're coming from. But did I tell you when you asked? Did I say to stick with it? I think I did, didn't I? So
yeah, you said stick with it. You said stick with it.
Yeah, and so it'd be interesting you did stick with it, obviously. And yeah, I mean, what a great the penultimate and the last episode were just like super payback Star Wars heaven. Everybody I've spoken to that has actually seen it has loved it. They've said, oh man, that is like the best ever payoff. You know, it's just like it's all there. And yeah, no, it was great. It's one of the best things I've seen, I think, to do with the Star Wars franchise. So yeah, for me, it was a real payoff. But I know what you're saying about the first two episodes, because I was with you a little bit. I was like, where's this going? Where's this going? And then you get we're gonna take it back, and it just like, you didn't like it. I can see on your face. You're not so keen.
Well, the problem was that it was kind of like, what I loved about the first two seasons is that there was a simplicity to them.
Yeah.
There was a simplicity to them. There was what's happening is this guy and this baby. They're trying to get from here there against the world. We're trying to see whether they can get some training. It was streamlined. It was like, and it very, very much leaned into the Western tropes, into the whole thing of like, because the Mandalorian is pretty much the man with no name, and like some of the shots and everything like that were very Western, and it was simple. It was lean. And then in this season, they seem to be trying to change it and turn it into almost like a Lord of the Rings type thing, where it's no longer lean, it's now a bit bigger, it's now a bit, this person, and it almost seems as if they changed the main character. So when they're talking about the Mandalorian, it's like it's no longer about the original Mandalorian, but it's now almost as if the Mandalorian that we're talking about is Bo-Katan Kryze.
Yeah, I've never, I've actually, I never thought of that, Tosin, but I can see where you're coming from now. He's become very much from a loner to a sort of team player, isn't he? Whereas before in the other series, he was a loner.
Yeah,
he was a Eastwood loner character, the man with no name. But now he's more. like
Yeah,
you've been a Magnificent Seven sort of character, you know.
well, yeah, it's just changed. It's the show has. I think the show has fundamentally changed.
Yeah,
And one of the big things I've thought is like, okay, so you have Grogu, Baby Yoda. He's pretty much not in this season at all. Anytime you see him, he's supposed to be like some sort of like light relief or comic relief that I do not think works. Like, you know, the whole yes, no.
Oh yeah,
I did not like that.
With IG 95 or whatever.
IG 11. Yeah, I was like, why the hell are you going back to him? Man? Why the hell are you go? Like, they keep doing things. They kept doing things in the show that I did not think made sense. Because first, okay, let's take the IG 11 thing. I was like, why? And the explanation for why they bring IG 11 back into the storyline for me does not work. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. And then what they eventually end up doing with IG 11, I'm like, what? And I'm like, why did you do that? And what happens is, okay, so let me put it this way: with IG 11, I don't want to give too many spoilers. So Sean, I'm just going to say this for you. But there's a bit where I was looking at it going, surely it is easier and quicker for you to float around than to do that.
Yeah, good point. Good observation.
I was like, it's easy. Yeah, for me, I think the show is trying to change what it is because I think they realized that after the first 2 seasons, they wrapped it up. They wrapped it up nicely, and then they had to figure out a way of getting this thing going again. And so they had to come up with a whole new story that they haven't really bothered about beforehand, but they're now trying to get you invested in it. And it took about 4 episodes of 8 before they actually got to the point of what they were trying to do with that story. And I think my favorite episodes of this was when it went back to almost like, you know, the thing of the week, like the bit where they go to that island, they go to that planet where all the other Mandalorians are, and they say all the robots are going crazy. We need to figure out why the robots are going crazy. I really liked that episode. And then when they went, okay, now we need to go back and take Mandalore, I was like, oh.
But see, I mean, all the ships, all the battles, all the thing, that was proper Star Warsy stuff. That's what you like to see. As I say, my favourite Star Wars movie is Rogue One. I mean, those last few episodes with the big battles where they're taking the planet back, and you've got all the X-wing and the TIE fighters, and you got all the
there were some bits in
the Praetorian Guard and all that stuff. And yeah, no, I was in heaven. And perhaps the plot wasn't quite as important for me as enjoying the action sequences.
I think I've done that whole old man thing again. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't care how funky your action is. If there's no plot if there's a plot I can get behind, I'm not with you. Although Sean, saying as you like Rogue One, have you watched Andor?
And I'm not keen on that. I watched a couple and I gave up.
Okay, all right, cool. Okay,
I watched 2 of Andor and I wasn't. Oh, if you've watched that, maybe I might try and do it again. I found it very slow.
Oh no, I haven't watched any of it because I haven't watched any of it because quite frankly, a lot of Star Wars nowadays I cannot be bothered with.
No.
I cannot be bothered with.
I found Andor hard. I wasn't so keen on Obi-Wan, but this last episode of Mando, I loved it because I mean, there was. Those past few episodes, the action was first class, you know.
I'll give you that there were some good action scenes. There were some good action scenes in it, but all in all, for me, it was at most a 3.
Yeah. Well, it's a big 4 for me. I mean, I take on board and I totally appreciate what you're saying and the observations you've made. I hadn't really noticed, but I can now. Now you've pointed them out, I can actually see what you're saying with the. You're right. He didn't need IG, did he? He didn't need IG because he was
pointless.
I mean, when those Praetorian Guards were after him, he was sort of, you know, avoiding everything, wasn't he? Really, but stuck in that. That's even a bit. You're more likely to get hit in. No. Yes. Then.
That's pointless.
Anyway, perhaps it was so they could get him to move about. Maybe. Perhaps it was. Yeah.
Oh, and also the animation or the movement of Grogu moving around, hate it.
Yeah.
I think it looks horrible. I think it looks amateurish. But never mind.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. No. That's it. I know. Tosin, I take on board exactly what you say, and I can see where you're coming from. Totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I will always give that show props for being the thing that brought me back into Star Wars, because after the Rise of Skywalker, I was out.
Yeah.
I was out. All right, but anyway, let's move on to cinema and let's talk about the